Just a little recap of the case study. It looks like it's the Army, and they have a crew, like a rowing team. And the coach seems really passionate about winning, and like each season is like a different season. Like winter is like strength training, and fall is this, and like the spring is like the actual season. And but it seems like their whole lives are devoted to it. And so they have two teams, the JV and the varsity. And basically the JV, the coach is like running all these tests, and the varsity keep losing to the JV. And I'm wondering why, because he knows that the varsity have the best teams. But they give us some background on rowing. And the rowing sport is less about – it's important to be strong and have technique. What's most important is work and unity. And so at the end, like, here's kind of three options to be looking into. One is to have the JV be the varsity team. Number two is to switch some of the teammates, and number three is to just figure out a solution to the problem. And so at the end, he kind of just like doesn't really know what to do. And I thought it was really interesting. I liked the case a lot. And so first, I kind of want to talk about like what is the issue? Like what? And I kind of said it, but like what did you guys think the issue was?
The JV team's doing better than the varsity team.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, when they switch players out or rowers out on the different teams, the JV team only gets better while the varsity team gets worse. So, you know, it's not a matter of being good athletes. There's something else going on.
Yeah.
Stephanie's in deep thought.
No, I'm just trying to think of. I'm just shocked that I actually got on. I'm still just in stupor here. It's amazing that they, being strong athletes, they're not doing well. Back to their rowing is such a precision sport, and they're not a team. They're row together.
Here's something that I can relate it to. So I like to play basketball, and I'm an old fart and everything. So, you know, not as in good a shape as I used to be, but I'm smarter about the way I play. So like we get together and we'll have like old men versus the young men. And I will tell you, even though the young men can outrun us and are better athletes, the old men beat them more than, you know, the young men, because we play smarter. We don't, you know, and we play more as a team. We pass it more. We don't do individual dribbling, trying to look cool. We just play fundamentally better. And I think that's kind of what's happening here. The varsity team's being more fundamental in what they, or the JV team's more fundamental than what the varsity team is at this point, because they're doing better with less.
I think also, do you have an echo on yours, Hannah, when you hear me?
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh, I think it's gone. It was really bad for a minute. So, I think the coach in his style, the players or the rowers are really good, but they're not sure. They can't take risks. You know, in some ways there's a trust. They don't trust each other. They don't trust their coach. Will they be put down? Will they keep their spot? And I think it's kind of broken the trust with each other. Always vying them, always looking who's going to be the weak link, and instead of building a team, and as the coach was doing, he kind of tore it apart in some ways.
Yeah.
Without trusting any of the players, there was no confidence there, and so they're all rowing as hard as they can to keep their spot. And it was amazing reading what precision they have to have, and how one person can throw it off, but they can't tell which one it is when they're. So
yeah, I like that a lot. I didn't even think about trust being a factor. So we can see that the junior varsity has something that the varsity team doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, they have the same coach, they get the same training, they have less skill, less strength, but they're doing better. And so
they have better teamwork.
So why is the issue so important?
Because they're working on going to finals, and they want to field the best team, and he's not sure what the best team is at this point, so he's got to figure out what's going on so that he can be competitive, so his teams can be competitive.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it comes down to that statement that the whole is stronger than the part. The JV team, the whole is stronger than the part. On the other hand, and their motto, nothing to lose. They had nothing to lose. They couldn't lose their position. They're solid. Where the varsity they didn't have any security there.
Yeah.
So, what's he going to do when you have those three scenarios? I think a long time ago, he could have said, you guys are set. You are the team. So that they had confidence to give it all. Risk.
Oh, that's so true. I like that. I love that. I didn't even think that the JV had nothing to lose, but the varsity could lose, and they're constantly, like, they must know that these tests are being run because they're not performing well. And I just think that it's really important. Like, you can see how passionate the coach is, and like, he's so passionate about it because he really wants to win, and he really wants to succeed. And I just think that this is kind of like right now. Like, I think at each stage of our life, we have like something that we're so focused on. Like right now, I'm really focused on school and trying to figure out where I want to take off. Right now, they're really they're really thinking about really medicine. Okay, so what are some specific behaviors, actions, and results that raise fear?
What are we doing anything different? Because all of a sudden I've got a really bad echo.
It's echoing sometimes. I don't think there's a way to avoid it. It happens sometimes and it doesn't, so I don't know what to do. I didn't change it.
I'm not echoing.
You never did last time either, Brian.
Yeah, I don't
special.
know what it is with ours. It might be like we were each the third person to get on or something.
I don't know.
I'm just special.
Yeah.
We'll just have to.
Okay.
What are the specific behaviors, actions, and results of these? So what are the specific actions, behaviors that raise concern?
I think the trust factor, it doesn't seem like an actual team. It seems more like just a bunch of individuals trying to do, they're all strong individuals and they are all good, but I think they're just working as individuals and not trying to work together as a team.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently
teamwork.
They've got an incredible work ethic for what they're doing. Well, going back to the trust issue, he does everything. Well, also the fact that he did everything, the strength training, and it was so much of what he did in choosing his team was those objective things that you could measure: your strength, your speed, your endurance, and even the emails. Instead of being open and having the transparency, anything that was a problem, you would just go straight to the phone. You didn't talk about amongst you. And there was, and then one more incident where he didn't show trust to the players, where they could show trust for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really good. I like that. Okay, the next question is, does Coach P have the right measurement? Is he doing the right tests? Is he measuring the right things?
To me, I was thinking that he didn't at first. When I first started reading through it and seeing how they judged it, but as he went through and did the time test trials and switching people in and out and doing the smaller crews and that, it showed that he's got the right athlete people. But I think where he lost it was he didn't have any good leadership on the varsity team.
Yeah. So he's testing like the skill level really well, but not the bond, I guess, the relationships.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where they felt like they were all doing their best, but they were all alone. They were doing, nobody else was doing their best.
Yeah, it all came out at the end. Like they were like, I'm the only one pulling weight, blah blah blah. So I almost feel like the coach is doing everything right.
Yeah, I like
this is like a special circumstance. Like it looks like something happened that like we don't know, and like it's causing a lot of issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know what the coach can do to fix it or to figure that out, or I don't know if he could have done something different. But I think that he needs to figure out who's not getting along and get him out.
No.
So I don't know if I'm ahead of
like
time
the
on these
next question, what
questions.
measures should be added? Like what should he do?
I think they've got to be able to trust each other. They've got to be able to count on each other and realize that they're all equally pulling the boat.
Yeah.
Here's kind of what I came up with. So even before they talked about the leadership and doing those tests, and the leadership's not found on the varsity team.
Mm-hmm.
So did you guys read what a coxswain is supposed to do?
Yes.
He's actually a ninth member of that team. There's actually 9 people in the boat, and it didn't go into that in the case study.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you read what he's supposed to do, he's supposed to make sure the strokes are even, watch and make sure technique's good. He's supposed to be a leader. He's supposed to report anything back to the coach, and he's supposed to do all this stuff that really is the person that gels the team together, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that they have on the varsity boat doesn't seem like he's doing that. So my thing is, if he would replace that coxswain with somebody that has that leadership ability
Mm-hmm.
and does the things that he's supposed to, I think that was what is needed the most.
So
and that's what I put in my paper too.
Even the coxswain, though, with his job, he reports to the coach. He's just, in fact, he kind of mirrors the coach, and he really only takes over if the coach isn't there. And if your coach is very dominant, then it kind of probably makes it so he can do less.
But the coach isn't on the water with him.
That's true.
And he has it seems to me like that position on the varsity team now has no leadership skills or very little. And I think that is the position that gels the team. He steers the boat. He makes sure everybody's following technique. He makes sure, that everybody, he's the leader of the boat, really. Right. So to me, I think that's one of the biggest failures that the coach has had is I don't think he recognizes that, or he hasn't, or the case doesn't show that he has. And I think that's part of the problem.
Oh, the coxswain swing?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It seems to me is the difference between, sometimes, in my opinion, between girls and guys is, when they're in high school, the girls write notes and they, 20 years later, they still remember what someone said about them. Boys, they go out in the backyard, they punch themselves or punch each other in the arm, and they walk in and it's over. And it just seems to me that they need to clear the air in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you guys read what happened? I went and looked up what happened to this afterwards.
Yeah, he had them all wrestle each other until they were too tired to do anything, and then they were good.
Yeah, go out and so right.
And it solved it.
Yeah. So the next day he has them, and he said, you and you wrestle like 2 minutes. They wrestle it out afterwards. He says, okay, you and you and he mixed up the teams again. He did that 3 times. The 4th time, they chose their own partners. And what they found in that is that nobody won. They couldn't beat each other. They weren't allowed to hit, but nobody could overpower the other until finally it was like a free-for-all, and then someone gets up and says, let's go row. And they went to the semifinals in nationals that year.
Whoa,
So
that's super cool.
So he was right with that team.
I really think that the coach was really smart, and he did all he could do.
Mm-hmm.
But there was just like tension, and like, what is a coach supposed to do? Like, he did all he can do. It's kind of like agency, you know? It's like God does all he can for us. He has a perfect plan, but he can't make us get along. And so, like, that was cool that he did that. And so, what measures? Oh, sorry. Go.
Well, I was going to say the one thing that I didn't like, I mean, I really did like the case, but the one thing I didn't like is, you know, it's saying, well, what should the coach do? It's 4 days till final. So it's like almost saying like he didn't do anything until it was crunch time to try to fix this.
Well, it almost,
and I don't think that's the case, but that's kind of what the case led it to look like.
I think he did, but he focused on the physical instead of the mental. He didn't, you know, where it said on the one, he said after they got back from Atlanta, they're thinking, oh, yeah, that was a good sign that they were like, what, we could have done more. Instead, he realized it was a sign that they weren't going to come together. And that I think he missed some of those, you know, the psychological aspect of it over the physical.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally see that. If you're in B321, he did too much quantitative and not enough qualitative.
Oh.
So I think, yeah, so what things needed to be removed? Like, what, I think he should have done less tests. But I mean, it's kind of like process and elimination. He had to figure out.
I think he was really, I think his intent was good. He really wanted.
It's like we know he should have removed some things because we know the end result, but how would we have gotten to the end result if he didn't do all those things?
Right.
You know? That's how I kind of feel. So I kind of feel like I wouldn't have removed anything. I think he did everything that he could do. And I feel like it probably showed the teammates that their coach was in it. You know, he was in there with them. Like, he really cared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily remove anything, but
Yeah.
I think he needed to add some more stuff, like add the personality test and the you know, the tests that show who's good leaders and the stuff that he did there, because I think that ended up being pretty crucial to get that out of the way.
Mm-hmm. See, I think he's the one. I think if he would have trusted himself quicker with it, that decision, and let those young men know that they were it, that they could focus more instead of worrying about that position.
So why would the data suggest performance yet not match the actual result of the collective team? So why did the test learning, like that data, like why did it show, like why did it not match like the result of the test? Because they had no team.
Again, I think it was,
right?
The leadership, no real good leadership.
I think what he measured, that objective part, but then they did do a lot of subjective testing, and they all agreed. All the other coaches agreed with the same thing.
But they did that later in the season, not at the beginning of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it needs to be done in the beginning rather than the end, you know, so he, you know, because he did put 2 really strong rowers on the JV team because they weren't technically advanced enough, so no big deal, but, maybe putting a weaker rower that had great leadership ability maybe would have helped it even more.
Because one of the ones that he put on the video was because he was a disruptor. So he was obviously aware of that when he did it. So this guy is college president in Atlanta or in Georgia somewhere.
Two?
He's a college. He's the president of a college.
Okay.
So I'm hearing myself like 3 times.
Yeah, it's doing that again. I don't know how to stop that.
I just hear you once.
What the heck?
I only hear you once.
Okay, we'll just go to the next one. What changes, if any, should Coach P take to rectify the situation for the upcoming finals? We kind of talked about that. We just think that there needs to be more unity, more teamwork. He needs to figure out how to get them to get along better.
I think the picnic table meeting was a good start because finally everyone was able to
Voice
share their
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so what how do you think that we could relate this case study to the gospel? I kind of said one with Heavenly Father, like he tries hard, he does everything he can, but it's up to us to do what's right and to get along with one another.
That's good.
I think communication is, within a family and whatnot is essential.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Preparation.
I'm not very religious.
Okay, and then we can talk about any personal experiences. So I'm just gonna share like the basketball experience you told Brian.
That was a great example, Brian.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was. I don't have anything specifically. I think that one's a good one. Okay, so were there any principles from this lesson's reading that we can connect with the case study?
Let me grab my book really quick. I had a great quote I found today. Too bad I didn't have it for my paper.
Always happens.
True.
Well, if I would have finished my reading on time instead of today, I would have had it. Okay. Innovation and creativity demand a number of important conditions to flourish. Or rowing as a team, let's change that, demand a number of important conditions to flourish, including information sharing, an absence of caring about who gets the credit. And at that one, it was like, I'm doing the best. I'm doing it all by myself. A willingness to take risks, the safety to make mistakes, and the ability to collaborate.
Yeah.
That was exactly, that summed up my paper, and I wish I would have had it earlier.
Yeah. Can you email me that, or just like a picture of that?
Of that quote?
Yeah.
You have your book?
Oh, it's in my book? Okay, perfect.
It's page 255, under Enhanced Innovation.
So this kind of applies to it. This is talking about at home, but it says we must never forget that for good or ill, the little things are the big things. And then it says at home. But I mean, that's true in most circumstances is, it's the little things that'll eat at you. And, I think it's the little things that cause the team to start doing worse because of, a little misstep here, and then it kind of snowballs into something big. Whereas the big things are like big elephants in the room, and you see them, and and you can start working on them. But the little things kind of sometimes slip through the crack, and that's where it ends up snowballing into something bigger.
Oh, that's what. Where did you find that quote? That was a good one.
I think it's 149, page 149.
That was good.
Double check.
Great. That's really good. It's good that we can like connect the case study to what our reading is. It shows that like our reading is actually applicable to real life. And so Stephanie, tell us how it turned out again.
Oh, so they went to the semifinals. He kept the team together and then made it to the semifinals. But they did some team building activities. Went and practiced. They did both.
And so you ended up changing the groups around at all?
No, it didn't change it. I think it would have been unfair to switch them. We put in all that work.
True. Super true. Okay. Share anyway. Okay, so I think for me, we learn like that, like you can apply to business too, like there, we can look at in economics, so that's economics, there's positive economics. There's positive economics, it's all about the facts, all about the data. And normative economics is more about emotions and feelings and things that are harder to measure. And I think that we realized in this case study that is life isn't just about the numbers, statistics, and all that stuff is important. Things that we can measure are super important. We can't fully rely on that. We need to measure more. We need qualitative and quantitative information. And if everyone could just add their thoughts of like kind of what they learned and kind of wrap it up.
So for me, I mean, I learned that teamwork's crucial. You can't do it on your own, especially in a sport like rowing, but in anything in life, you need friends and you need people that you can rely on. Just the other day, so I'm 43 and I don't drive for a living anymore, but I work for a transportation company. So I was driving back to my hotel Tuesday night, and as I was in a conversation with my boss about some things, I was disagreeing with some things, and it was just one of those things where I was just so caught up in the conversation that I wasn't paying attention to the driving and what was going on, and I slammed into I ran out of gas. Okay, so my first time in my life I ran out of gas, and I'm sitting here on the highway. I'm in Indiana. I've got family in Indiana, but they're about 3 hours south of where I'm at. And I had just met with a friend that I hadn't seen in like 20 years, but he was about an hour from me at that point. But I thought about them, but there was another guy that, we're doing some business with up here, and he was heading back down. So I was able to work with him. So you got to have support and a team, whether it's family, friends, business associates, you got to have people you can rely on, or you're never going to make it in this world.
Yeah.
Good point.
What about you, Stephanie?
In talking about trust and the different cases, and actually the book, it's made me really stop and think of different councils I've been on, or different groups that I've worked with, and the ones that I find that there's been it's been hard to come together. It's made me really rethink those relationships and think why, and realize that a lot of times it was probably just simply, the lack of trust, and how can we rebuild that faster to be more effective, and done what we want to.
I put that in
Uh-huh.
Oh, go ahead, finish.
Oh, no,
I
good.
was gonna say, I put that in my paper too. I put that in my paper too, where it, I don't remember what page it was on, but where it talked about, oh gosh, I wish I could pull up my paper actually and find it. So go ahead and finish yours and I'll pull up the paper real quick or.
Oh, no, I was just saying that it's and kind of asking what would be different or how to find on that difference. That trust is more of a when that we don't go through several weeks of, skirting around it.
So where was it?
Personal examples in your Brian?
What's that?
Did you use personal examples in your paper? Personal
I
experience?
didn't because I didn't think about that until the night.
Yeah, that would be good too. I bet it would make a paper, because mine are very clinical, and I bet it would make it more interesting when you interject things like that.
This is what it is. When trust goes down, speed will also go down and costs will go up. So in the scenario of with Coach B, he couldn't get his team to trust him and each other. So their speed, once he could make that happen, their speed would improve and the cost of defeat or failure would be greatly reduced.
Literally.
They would be more successful. So, I mean, that's kind of how I played it with this case, because it's true. I mean, if they trusted each other, they would be going faster. Their speed would go faster, so or their time would get less, so their speed would. So in that, it's related to time, and then the cost or the agony of defeat, so to speak, would be less. So, I don't know, that's just kind of another way I related it to the book. And
yeah, I like that a lot. And yeah, I think that we could all I really like this one, and I feel like even though I can't connect with that, I don't even know much about that sport, I think we could all connect it. Because we've all had to be on a team, whether it be in our families and for this class, eventually, maybe if we want to get into business or we've probably all worked for a business. Having a team, I kind of was thinking of the case study when it was 2 weeks ago when they were in a team, they were gossiping about each other and it was more of a competition in between them rather than with other companies. And so I just want to thank everyone for their comments, and I will post this.
Yeah. I have a quick question.
By the end of tonight. Huh?
Has anyone done I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. Has anyone done the 360 yet? I'm wondering what that was.
The what?
There's a 360 activity we have to do.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
No, I haven't. This week?
Yes.
Is it due this week?
Yes. It doesn't look it looks like it's more of a self-assessment, but I don't know. I haven't.
That's what it probably is. Have you hit stop recording yet, Hannah?
No.
You can go ahead and hit stop recording.
Okay.
And we can still talk.